Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support. And if you like what you see here, make sure you subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button. It's there somewhere on your screen. You'll find it. So, like I said, welcome back. We have Nana Manadus. I got to get it right. In his Skirta, it's a Skida. A Skirta. What is it actually? Skoda? Is that correct? I bet somebody can correct me. I should look it up. I'm sure the interwebs knows, but we're going to call it a Skoda T27 Tier 8 Czech medium auto-loading tank. That's a mouthful. It's one of the new premiums, or probably, well, it was the newest, but now the 7501 is the newest. He's in a all Tier 8 battle. Got a couple artillery sitting here on Iceberg Steps something or other map called Glacier. Getting ready to play. He sent me this replay, said, hey, could I have won this? And I said, hey, that depends. Well, we're going to talk about that and give some specific places where maybe something could have been done a little bit different. And we will see if, hey, maybe he could have won this. It's an excellent question because it's a question you should always ask yourself when you have a loss. What were some of the things I could have done to do better or even to have won? We won't get into the whole possibility, probability, you can win them all theory crafting that I have done in the past. We're just going to talk about this specific one, and it always starts at the beginning. It really starts in the garage with how you set up your tank and the crew and everything else. But once you get in here, it starts at the beginning of the match, and you say, hey, self, where am I going? And your self says, I'm going to take my medium, and I'm going to go to the heavy brawling area. Okay, fair enough. Why is that not a bad spot for a T-27? Well, first of all, it is an all Tier 8 battle. So you won't be running into heavily armored 9 and 10 heavies, which will give this thing a bit of trouble without dabbing a lot of 2. You'll notice he only carries 3 APCR rounds anyway. So actually not a bad decision in regards to tiering and what he's going to face. The worst thing to face is going to be the Caernarvon, the IS-3, and the Emil. The rest of it is relatively soft and shouldn't be much of a problem punching through. You can expect the platoon of the Karn and the IS-3. Interesting that they have a Udez with them. Not really a matchup for them. But at least the 2 heavies will be together and most likely in the north. So you can expect those 2 to be there. A couple things we've gleaned. As you start to move, you can tell that you've got a T-32, a JP-2, a Scorpion G. And is anyone else following us? Looks like the 7501 because that's a nice slow tank. He's going to take a while to get there. So those are all things that are coming along with us. Not a lot, actually. So right off the bat, a little bit wary of what you're going to be able to do down there with only 5 tanks. But again, looking at the enemy setup, what's likely to be there? Well, probably about 5 tanks. Unless they really push some interesting tanks hard down there. And it is interesting, the Scorps coming down here, and they can do really good work in a situation like this if they stay out of exposure trouble. If they can pop out while other people have already shot and punished with that big 490 Alpha, I believe it's 490, then they're very useful in a fight like this. Alone or outnumbered in a fight like this, they're not very useful at all. They'll get shredded. But let's see what happens as we push down here. There are a few concerns for me right away. The middle is not really being heavily contested. The lights are running around, and that's good because they're going to get people lit up. But there's not much there. And it looks like the enemy is sending an Udez and a Progetto 46 this way. So that's going to perk my ears up right away. We don't have any medium support going there. A lot of our mediums are headed down to the south. We only have lights. So we need to pay attention to what is going on over there. Also, I would not have cut this way. And I think this initial positioning decision was interesting for me, Nona. First of all, it exposed you a little more on that crossing than really I would have liked. I think I would have gone towards the back. Second of all, I just don't like this spot for this tank. Because this is a heavy armor spot with side scraping, and the other team has a pretty good hold down position right there with that piece of ice that you can see. And you're really sort of at this point counting on somebody either being foolish and jumping out in front of you, or what we're actually going to see, someone crossing. And unfortunately, just slightly low on the aim, and we don't get any damage out of it. But they crossed 2 of their heavily armored tanks. Those are the 2 guys that are platooned. So you can expect them to work in unison to some extent. I like this. You're waiting for him. You didn't just press C automatically. You're going to see if he's foolish, but he's smart enough to side scrape. We come out, and I would hit C immediately right there. It was interesting to me that you actually kept that. I guess yeah. We did get a hit, so good on you. There you go. I think I would have reloaded all three. That's not a big thing, but you did get a shot in, so good on you. You see that the 7502 and the Scorp have anchored that corner there, and the T-32 is working from there. Now, you've got all the positions covered, but unfortunately, I'd much rather have the T-32 where you are and have you where the T-32 is, able to move around, or potentially go over to further north where the Scorpion G. So my point of all that positioning talk is, I like this position better for lights, or mediums, although it is exposed to artillery. Would have been nice if you could have used that speed to cross over here and stuff the Karen from coming over and maybe drug along some of your other buddies. So you used your speed to get here for good shots, but now you're stuck. I would use the speed to get over there. That's the place I like with a medium. Now, could you have got pushed by both the IS and the Karen? Don't know. Maybe you'd have drug along one of these other guys to help you here to work on that, but let's see how it goes. Getting the reload going on there. Your EBR makes it up top, and things are looking okay in the middle. The 34-3 has moved down there. He flexed. He flexed. That's a reference to another video. This guy, I don't know what this guy's doing. This is just bad shot selection. I'd have gone right into the back of that tank with those shots. And unfortunately, you only get one out of the three. And then the EBR, I don't know if he fell off or bailed off on purpose. That's a bummer. Watch the middle, though, because we're actually going to get a problem there. The Scorpion G moves around because he gets tired of being artied. And they double tap the IS-3. And then I thought the arty was going to finish him off, but only gets a small chunk. So in regards to whether you could win, you can see your team's already gone down 3 tanks. That's not very good. And the problem is the middle has been cleared out. We come out here, dive back, look for that shot on that guy. And that is unfortunate. I might have gone out for, yeah. I don't know. That's a hard one. You could have stood in and ensured you got shots, but it's possible the 1951 would have had shots. But here's what's great about it. You had those 2 guys helping you, which I think I would have stood in and made sure that 14-5 went away. Even if I'd have been hit maybe once, maybe twice, knowing that these 2 guys would have shots on those guys if they're taking a shot at me. The problem would be getting tracked and then obliterated by the Emil 1951. But that's why this kind of crossfire stuff is set up right here, and why it's a good idea to have guys on several different angles taking shots. So a couple things already, maybe a little bit on the gunnery. I think we've left some damage on the table. Could have done a little bit better work on the IS-3 and maybe stood in and got rid of the 14-5, because what your problem now is, you've got to start removing their guns. You guys are doing an okay job down here, an okay job with only 4 tanks, taking on their, 4 or 5 tanks. But the rest of the team is not doing so much. They're not doing very well at all, as a matter of fact. And you've lost the middle, although the 34-3 is attempting to hang on a little bit. You're about to lose the southeast right there, so we've got to start removing guns. And at some point, you got to start taking a few chances in here to turn this tide. Not YOLO, not throw everything away, but maybe take a few chances with a little bit more aggressive maneuvering. Looks like you're turning around to start thinking about the middle. The IS-3 dies, and this is kind of a critical point right here. Finally, an advantage has been made here in the northwest. And right now, it's your maneuverability and your autoloader that needs to push in there and get these guys out as fast as possible. Because the sooner you get the Karen and the Emil out of there, the sooner the rest of your tanks are freed up to do something else. And something else has to be done quickly, because you guys are in trouble. The Emil's a one-shot. I believe the Karen is close to a one. No, he's got quite a few hit points, actually. Never mind. Again, kind of shooting into the side. You didn't have a lot of great options right there. Just moving the aim a little to the right might have got into his lower plate. And now we're kind of sitting here. And it's unfortunate that someone with a lot of armor, like the T-32 or the 7502, didn't make a move to the north and try to push in on these guys. It's difficult to cross open spaces when you're staring down an autoloader like the Emil 1951 in a good position. That can be bad. And it looks like finally the T-32 kind of gets it. And he's going to go ahead and move forward, because you've got to clear out these guys right now. And here's where I would have followed him up. So for you, I'd have gone, watch where I think the T-34 actually goes around. Maybe you do eventually. There we go. I'd have been moving that way much earlier. So T-34-3 is going to cross. You're going to come out. It gets the attention of the Emil, and he's thinking, oh, bummer. It's like, oh, I got caught out. Thought he was going to get a couple shots into the 34-3 and then realized you were following him up. So that was actually a nice move. And from there, I'd have pushed in against the Karen. right? There was no reason to stop when the 1951 went down. Just push in there. I know the Progetto's up there. Everyone's clicking on him furiously, but you've got to get rid of the Carnarvon. And then this was interesting to me. You're kind of hanging out in the open right here. I probably would have auto-aimed that guy and ran for this cover because I see a lot more coming. Standing in here, and you actually get away with it because he's looking, your reload does. So that's really, so he was sort of not sure who he was aiming at. I would have auto-aimed him though and just kept pushing to make him have to turn to me. And then as soon as it was loaded, snap one off. Now this is another critical point. This is not bad actually. You're 5'8". You have cleared out the guys down here in the northwest. There's a Progetto up top, and as long as you stay covered, he's kind of useless up there. If he can hang off the side and you get uncovered, then yeah, he can get shots. But this was a critical one. The 6x6 is going for your artillery. He's a one-shot, followed up by a soft Scorpion and another WZ, another light. You have got to get rid of this Lynx 6x6. So I would have stopped right here, put my gun out in, let me see if I can figure this out. There we go. Put my gun out in the lead and just get as good an aim as I can with as closed a dispersion circle as possible and just really try to make sure that's the guy that died first. So let's kind of watch what happens here. You're sort of looking, you're looking at the Scorpion, then you think, oh no, maybe the 6.6, 6x6, and then we're behind him. So that little hesitation really cost you, and the 6x6 was absolutely the priority. If you could have knocked him down, that would have been fantastic right there. And as I was talking earlier, if you'd have gone straight to this cover on this side, it wouldn't be as scary when this Scorpion comes around. And what's funny is he bounces, so he's probably raging right now. So the good news is you did not lose anything for it hit point wise, but the 6x6 got away. He rages up there. The Artie is in big trouble. He's zinging around the Artie. So I think the WZ actually gets up there. He was outside your view range. Yep, there he is. So he shows up top, and you do some pretty good work on him actually until I think the last shot maybe bounces or something. Unfortunate. That one actually hit him. That was good. Oh, that's right. Only 3 shots in there, but that one doesn't kill him, and he had 293 hit points, so it was unlikely you were going to actually kill him. That's the weakness of this particular autoloader. With a 240 Alpha and only 3 shots, it just does not have that devastating burst damage. It's an okay burst damage. It's a kind of interesting burst damage at times, but you can see you weren't even able to take down WZ in that case. So we're going to back up here. All right, so we've got here, we're at 5 to 10. Things are not looking great. So what do we do? What is the next option? The bummer is that 34-3 goes to their cap, but he's going to show you something very interesting. And if we count noses, let's see where everybody is. The Scorpion's way is over there at F8. We have 2 lights up top. There's another Scorpion hiding behind the rock. The Progetto is up on the carrier, and the T-69 was last seen in the south. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks, counting the artillery, that are hiding somewhere. So 8 of the 10 that they have left. That means there's only 2. Looks like the UDES is hiding out somewhere, and there is another scout, I guess, the Hawk 12. Nope, the Hawk 12 is seen. So there's actually another extra tank I didn't know. That's 3 of the scouts. They're all up there together. So that just means the UDES is somewhere. Watch as the 34-3 crosses here, that he doesn't really get wrecked. So the UDES is probably not watching that approach. More than likely, these guys are all up in cleanup phase, thinking that we've got this thing dicked. So your 7501 and Scorpion G are crossing the open area, and you've got the mobile tank. Unfortunately, your T-40 34-3 is not helping you much, but he is showing you that there's not much on that side. And the reason I'm bringing this up, we get this guy out, and that's a good kill. The reason I'm bringing this up is this approach across this big open area with 3 scouts up on top and a Scorpion behind a rock and potentially the Progetto coming around the corner, that's just, you don't want to be out there. These guys are going to give it the old college try, and you're trying to support them. But what I'd have done on this case is, this is time for the Hail Mary. I'd have swung around this way and just hope the UDES isn't still sitting up here, and then use this kind of hold down spot, see if I can't get rid of the Progetto or surprise the Scorpion and get rid of this so that we can start working on this if they want to get on the cap, which is what they're doing right now. You don't have a lot of time, that's for sure. But it looks like they're not interested in capping, right? So they get there. There's the Progetto. He's actually behind you over here. Up on the hill, though. Or up on the carrier. 6x6 dies. That's a good kill. And then we just drive out in the open. And this, you know, this approach just isn't going to work. I think you were trying to stay as far over here as you could to avoid being spotted by these dudes, but they're about to lose the 7501. Once he dies, these guys are going to have more freedom to move around. Plus, they just are going to out view range you, and there you are. You've already been spotted because the 69 moved up. So he came across. We're trying to get here. Oh, there's the Scorpion. He gets away. And we get wrecked. Everything is hitting us. And all of a sudden the Udez shows up. We actually get a piece of the Udez here, and then we die. So 2,464, 333 assists. Not a bad job. So the answer is that you actually could have done a couple things here, I think, that would have helped your team get closer to winning. It's unfortunate the 34-3 went to Cap. I guess he's hunting Artie. You know, you've always got somebody doing that kind of thing when they don't need to be. You would have exposed yourself to Artie over on this side, but like I said, that was the Hail Mary time. You needed to show up somewhere different and see if you couldn't take down some of these near deads with that autoloader. But just driving across the middle wasn't going to work. The other option was to go where these guys went and push with them. I know you were trying to support. I got that. But you have the faster tank. You may have been able to get up here and get them lit up. Obviously, this Scorpion behind this rock's a big deal because he's got side shots on you. And the T69 also moved up there and would have been a factor as well. So not great options, but there were some other things you could have done. And if you back it up further, I didn't like the initial position that much over here. I talked about why. And then just cleaning these guys up faster was a big deal. If you could have cleaned these guys up faster, been a little more aggressive in here, that would have freed up some of your tanks to start moving back so that you don't get so enveloped so fast. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Usually when you lose, a flank when you lose a game, a flank is lost, and the extra tanks from the enemy team from that flank envelop you or add to your flank. And if you can kill their flank faster, preserve more of your hit points, then you're more able to react to them winning the other flank. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate it. I hope that helped. Pirani, or have I called you Pirani? How many times have I done that? I have no idea. You're Nona. Whoever you are. The guy that sent the video. This is what happens when you get old, folks. And do a lot of videos in one day. All right. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you saw, despite the early onset Alzheimer's, make sure that you, subscribe. See? It's getting worse, fellas. It's getting worse. Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you.